I think this is one of those moments where, as a black man, you want to go where you're wanted and appreciated, not tolerated, because it's hard to get that in America where a lot of toxic women just love drama and chaos and domestic, just crazy shit in general, right? And so for me, I look at it in a different perspective because I think nowadays black women just love to give orders and demand certain things from men as far as like money and six figures and 6 foot tall, like 666. And I think what this brother in this video about to talk about is something that shouldn't offend you as a black woman, but it should give you a clear understanding as to how you live your life in certain situations in life. So shout out to MTR for this video. Let's get to it.
Get mad at me for dating outside my race, but I was dating outside of my race because they was doing things better than my race. I'm
Like,
keep
what do you
one. My
define
Spanish,
better?
my
Define
Spanish.
better.
Well, not better because I know where she getting ready to go. Not
What?
better.
I know you said
But
they were
not-
doing things
no, not
better. I wanted to know what better meant.
Not better. I'm gonna change that.
I'm trying to save you for the,
I
for
know
the
you
people.
is.
For
That's
the
why-
Then shut up and let him talk.
For the culture.
There we go.
Right, not better.
This is one thing that really turns me off about certain black women in the community when a man is trying to express his overall opinions and his feelings. They will always cut you off within 5 seconds when you try to give your piece. And you see it right there when she was just cutting him off when he says that when other black women are doing better in other areas. And as he's trying to explain to her, she keeps cutting him off completely. And as a black man, I would not tolerate that. If you can't listen to what I have to say, then this conversation is definitely over. And I don't even want to talk about nothing with you because it seems like you don't really want to listen to what I have to say. And it's obvious to me that we are just cooking this generation. And you see why a lot of black men avoid dating black women. I mean, no, not trying to be funny, but there are some good black women out there in the world that are willing to treat you like a king and that can make you happy in life without drama and the nagging and the argumentative, the drama. But something tells me the women in this video are about to be a lot worse. A lot of prime examples of how not to be a good black woman if you can't really learn how to listen to your man. Because we do know a lot of stuff, but not all of it. But if we're trying to explain something, like if we're trying to explain something to you, why can't you just stop shutting us down and just try to understand where we're trying to come from? It's not that hard to listen.
I was dating Puerto Rican, I was dating Dominican, I was dating African, I was dating all type of other really size American black, right? They were doing way more of what we expect we want our woman to do more than our American. Our American got real comfortable
Give
with.
me some examples.
That sounds like better, my G. If
Yeah.
it's better, then don't walk it back.
Oh man, I mean, their mannerisms are different. Like even my Indian one was from Syria, or one of them countries over there, right? I didn't have to really say much to do and be treated like a king. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times with our own American black, they
more
expect so
expectation.
much of
Yeah.
us and what we're supposed to do. Like
Yeah.
things like if we go out and eat and we just have a nice dinner, we can go anywhere and eat and get a nice dinner. It had to be Ruth Chris, or it had to be this, that, or it had to be this, that. Then I get somebody that's just as fine, a Cuban or a Colombian. They don't care about nothing. They care about you and your household. Even though they still care about the money, but it's not about the money. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's a difference. Not better, but sometimes we get tired of hearing Birkin bags, sushi.
Do you think that's fair? Because I feel
Here we
there's
go.
a certain type of woman
Right.
that does demand that. And to
Right.
me, I think it depends on the bait you're using and where you're looking.
It could.
If you're gonna go get a model
Yeah.
from Instagram that got the BBL, the snatched in stomach, and
Yeah,
has
but-
all the things that check off money hungry and surface, you're gonna get that.
She's not wrong in saying that.
I mean,
Shiny
I kind
things
of agree
to
with that in
attract
some
women,
ways,
you
but
cannot be
still.
mad then when they want those shiny things for their damn self. But I think what the brother is bringing up is not so much trying to attract women with flashy things, but that within Western culture, there is a damn high expectation of what a man should be making and
Exactly.
how much should a man be dishing out to take
I
care
think
of
that's the
her.
sad
That
part about nowadays,
expectation
so.
or that privilege or that entitlement is not so much as present within women from other places. This is the ideology of the passport, bro.
If you're gonna meet a girl and through different ways and ask different questions, you're gonna find that out a lot earlier on that
And
what's
I'm not-
important to her.
I'm not doubting that, but I'm just talking about even if you look on just a regular dating app and just look at what
Regular, yeah.
a woman may state that she requires.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm saying these things because it feels as if social media again is the barometer, okay, and it's the comparison, and when you're comparing yourself to all these other women, and of course, even with the BBLs, because I'm like,
Huh?
that's fine, but I mean,
What's BBL? I'm sorry.
Brazilian butt lift.
The problem with BBLs is that it doesn't take women seriously on social media. They're looking for the wrong types of attention in the wrong ways, in the wrong areas on Instagram, right? And so for me, I look at BBLs as a joke because you're making yourself look like an idiot on the internet. And the point that he was trying to make is that when it comes to women, you know, women in America, the Western culture, it's a lot of issues that they are doing to get attention, getting naked, to sell their punanis on OnlyFans, and taking booty pics and go to the extreme by getting almost half naked to sell the you know what. Matters even more worse. I've seen countless feet pictures on my Instagram feed, and it's starting to get weird and concerning because we're not trying to find love on social media because we would rather find love in person the old-fashioned way without getting catfish. And the fact that they're still doing that today is beyond scary. And not only that, but the difference between here and other countries like Uganda, Colombia, Puerto Rican is that the black women over there are more respectful and they have more traditional values than the women here in America, because you're starting to see the different sides and the different opinions on what men prefer. As you said that there's no shame of you getting the BBL. It kind of is, because the more you get a BBL, the more you're going to get laughed at. You know what I'm saying? It's your body, do what you want to do with it. But at the same time, we're not going to take you seriously. We're not going to put a ring on you. We're not going to marry you. We're not going to start a family with you because of what you did with your body. If it's for a medical reason, as far as like hip replacements, knee surgeries, and whatever situations you got going on within your body that is more serious, then yeah, I would say surgery is needed, but not going under the knife when you're that insecure within your own bodies, instead of going to the gym and working for it.
And that's no shade to everyone that has them. I'm just saying, if you're going
Yes,
by
it is.
just surface things and that's who you're going afterwards, then guess what? She's gonna run them pockets.
Is way deeper and more pernicious.
Yeah,
than that.
very
and
deep.
I often hear this
Very
argument from
deep.
different women, but that argument to me is surface level, because this behavior exists not only for flashy guys, but also average income, white collar, blue collar, working men as well. Not
Yep.
all that all, but it exists in droves. My evidence for this: go run back to Kevin Samuels live streams from a couple of years ago, and how many women would ask for a man making $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 a year?
No, and I'm not, and I want to get your thoughts, Doc, and as well, Amy, as a woman dating or even considering, I think that a lot of times, you know, we do value women, but when you talk about black relationships, I think we all come with some baggage, all right? Now, some of us have some baggage that's not gonna fit in the overhead compartment, and some of us have some baggage that you have to pay a whole lot more for to get on this flight,
truck.
Yeah.
right? But the reality of it is that's just who we are, and I'm talking about historic. Like if you're talking about being enslaved, where we were and how we engage each other, there's a lot of elements there. It can be a little difficult because women have expectations that they're watching, and they're very material expectations. I agree with you, Claudia, but I'm simply saying that
not all of them are material.
and I'm not trying to generalize
It's just
women.
most of the time it's pointing to American women are more material.
And it's America as a society.
Not better.
Let's bring
Not
spirit.
better.
Let's bring
I
spirit
heard
into
you,
this.
and I gave you the space to even edit the better part, right? So, and I'm with you on that. But let's say
She's
this
about to
because-
like,
She's about to talk with her emotions. As
yeah,
opposed to logic.
yeah. I'm sensing it right now.
Let's listen.
You guys both tie in two really important pieces, right? You talk about women who are not African American women, and you
Okay.
talk about the experience and what is the influence here. You mentioned social media, but what you're really missing here is the piece that you talk about, the enslavement part, the culture and the trauma
boy.
that African American men and women.
How do we go from talking about interracial relationships, dating black women, to talking about slavery? Like, get that politics crap out of this conversation. Like, I'm beyond sick of like hearing stuff about this. I know where we come from, and we did come from slavery days. Like, those days are over with. Why on God's name are we still talking about it? This is about relationships, not politics. Come on now.
Is like unlike any other group. And so when we talk about trauma, what we know is that black people have a lot of unprocessed trauma. We have a lot of hurt. We have a lot of harm, not just back then, but right now on the daily, right? And so one of the things that we talk about as professionals,
this is
within
not going anywhere,
within
bro.
my profession, is we talk about how trauma impacts people. And so we love to say, Resma Menakem, one of my favorite colleagues, he says that trauma decontextualized within a person.
What does that got to do with this conversation, ma'am?
And that trauma decontextualized within a family looks like family traits.
And what the brother is saying, and what many men are saying, including the Passport Bros, is we do not have to be here for your trauma. There are
Yes.
people walking around today, both male and female, that are satiated within whatever trauma that they have experienced, their forefathers have.
Only reason why they are still living in trauma is because they're not healed within themselves. In order to be in a good relationship, they have to work on themselves first, as far as like healing and going to therapy before jumping into relationships and conclusions. You expect us to date modern women that carry so much baggage and trauma growing up throughout their lives. It's not going to work, because if you're bringing trauma into the relationship, that means you're bringing drama into my life, and you expect me to go if you expect me to go along and deal with your BS, that is so not gonna happen. Because the way she perpetrates this whole topic, as if we don't care about what black people go through every day. Of course we care about what black people go through every day. It's not easy living in America. But the point of this conversation is to bring awareness of why black men date outside of our community, because we want something better. It's not that black women are bad, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, there are some good black women out there that we come from a black woman. I come from my mother. You know what I'm saying? I love my family. I love you know what I'm saying? I love black women with all my heart. But I'm saying is that if it's something that we're into, whatever preferences that we have, it's nobody's business. The same reason why y'all have a preference of dating hood bangers and drug dealers and thugs, gangsters, scam artists. Y'all like those type of people. Don't get mad at us when we have a preference of dating women who are traditional, that have respect for themselves, that are not online, hoeing, acting like 304s, and selling themselves on OnlyFans to make a quick buck to sell the you-know-what to a bunch of men online. We're not about that life. I know sometimes, we forget that we're not supposed to judge people in life. I mean, it says in the Bible, don't judge a book by its cover. You're not supposed to judge people. You're supposed to love thy neighbor and keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. Yes, to an extent, I get that a lot. But there's a certain limit that people really need to understand. If your actions cause people to judge you, then it's going to happen because of how, once again, you live your life. And the thing that really bugs me about this clip is that she's not really understanding of what we're trying to say. You're bringing politics and trauma in this topic that has nothing to do with love, of dating, in interracial relationships and dating black women. You're just bringing unnecessary politics, into this conversation that nobody is talking about. That's why it's so hard to have a conversation with certain people if we cannot stay on the same page.
At the end of the day, men want peace as well as modesty and your
We do,
femininity.
but we
not
can't
your
get that here.
arrogance, your selfishness, your manipulation, your dishonesty, your constant criticism, your controlling tendencies, or lack of respect, especially if you blame all those things on some trauma. No man needs to sign up.
Accountability
for your
is
baggage
kryptonite,
nor your trauma.
which they
And if
refuse
you
to do.
continue to carry that and to hold on to it, then I don't want it. Many men don't want it, and they go elsewhere to seek it out. Only the healed women in a community deserve protection, deserve respect. So these women must do everything in their power to let go of the trauma and fix it. If you want a pre-made man, then why can't we get a pre-made woman?
And that trauma
Facts. He
decontextualized
said
in
it.
a people looks like culture, right? And so when you talk about how African American women present and what they need as it relates to security and finances and the finer things in life, and to look a certain way and to want a certain thing from their man and to have certain expectations, it's because of the trauma that we are still trying
Who
to
about trauma?
Imagine for a
Once again, if we cannot stay on the same page when it comes to having a casual conversations with a woman that we like, or we're trying to bring up some interesting points about relationships, it's always got to be about trauma. If you're not healed, don't jump into relationships if you're still going through some nonsense within your personal life. And I think time and time again, I just feel like, to me, people just don't want to take accountability of why they're bringing people down with them, because they want to put people through all of the trauma, all of the madness, especially if you're going through a difficult time in your relationship and you're bringing people down with you and you're telling people about your personal business online and you're putting that out for the whole world to see. That's why nobody is getting married. Nobody is getting in happy relationships, because they're too busy still dealing with trauma, therapy, whatever it is that they're still dealing with. Like, it is killing the black community. And you wonder why, the world laughs at us, because we're not doing enough growing and healing in order for us to be happy. Here she is, keeps bringing up trauma. And again, what does that have to do with this conversation about love, relationships? This whole thing is about why black men date outside, of black women in America, where there's other black women in different countries that don't care about none of that drama. But I'm going to tell you what made it worse. Reality TV, Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives. They're just putting up a front in front of cameras just to portray black people as ghetto and immature and ratchet, when we all know that not black people act like that in real life. I mean, unless you're making skits, then yeah, but in real life, I don't think that's the case. And sometimes, in my opinion, it's hard to talk to certain people without them jumping off topic. And you was trying to bring up a point, actual facts about relationships. That's all I hear is trauma.
Regarding trauma, right? I'm overweight and I couldn't stop eating because
Yeah, that sounds like an excuse itself.
I couldn't secure the job during my interview because of my trauma. I couldn't go buy a new car because of my trauma. I couldn't pay the mortgage on my house because of my trauma. Again, men will not forgive you for your trauma.
Exactly.
I couldn't get or keep a man because of my trauma. Trauma does not get results. accountability does. Once you become
Which they
accountable,
refuse to
you
take,
fix whatever
unfortunately.
internal issues
But
that you have,
they just
it will
want us to
result in
just
you
deal
being a
with
better
it
product
when
on the
we
dating
don't.
marketplace today. You cannot shame or insult men to put up with you and your trauma.
And when we talk about feeling beautiful and the BBLs and the Birkin bags and the wanting the nice things and wanting their men to come with a certain level of care and a certain level of treatment and expectation, we are trying to connect. We are trying to heal with you. We are trying to build with you. But there's so much hurt and trauma that we all have that we don't talk about, that we don't even understand.
If she brings up trauma one more time, I'm ending this video. I'm letting you know that now because I'm sick of hearing the word trauma. Trauma, trauma, trauma. That's all I hear in this video is trauma. Goodness.
You can talk about your past trauma, but do not wallow in it. Figure out solutions for it.
Yeah.
I mean, the type of men that most women want, high or earning, results-oriented men, do not wallow in their trauma. Why? Because again, their trauma gets no results. It makes no money. And therein lies the problem. You want these type of men because of what they can give you, but you don't qualify for these type of men.
So that we can't
Exactly.
find who we're compatible with. Because who we're compatible with is traumatized versions of ourselves.
Spirit, do you think that
Oh
and
my
men,
gosh.
women that seek the materialistic things, items, the tangible things, and men that just seek the women for the aesthetics, do you think those are people that kind of just gave up on love and they're just like going for, all right, well, at least I can see this, I can grab onto this?
No, I think it's science. If you really want to know, we are part of the animal kingdom like anything else. And so what the male species chooses is the thing that's biologically beautiful, because what it suggests from a DNA perspective is you're likely to bear my offspring and they will do well. It's survival of the fittest. And what the female
Okay, now
species
she's getting onto
chooses
something, but
is
the
male
whole trauma part
offspring
really got on my
that provide
nerves.
the most security.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be able to protect me and our offspring and raise us, and we will do well.
So we're not gold diggers, it's just science.
Oh, shut up. Now, while I agree
Right.
with what the woman just said, specifically within black culture, what is normalized regarding men peacocking and women's expectations of those men is severely skewed. It is severely hampered by social
Right.
media, the music that we listen to, and mainstream media in general. And because in the West, there's so much of a focus or magnifying glass on those things being valuable, the young people are influenced into thinking that those very things are valuable. Meanwhile, it would do the culture way more benefit if the women looked at the men from more of a morality perspective and had a better understanding of what a man is, or the value placed on what that man does for a living, or how much money that he made, his masculine virtues, and vice versa. And men focused on women's ability to be feminine and peacemakers, to be modest and non-worldly, and not twerking and shit all over Instagram for civic likes and validation.
Don't forget TikTok.
Wallow within their trauma, or someone to feel bad or sorry.
But Twitter is
about.
worse.
And there's so much more that I can name on both sides of the coin. But if those things became more of the focus instead of the debaucherous, ratchet ass shit that we see normalized, then I think that we'd get somewhere.
It's literally biology. It is literally biology.
We
When you
have our
see,
own
listen,
different-
listen. When you see the brothers out there with the rims and the flash and the money and the gold, they're no different than the male peacock that's showing his whole big pretty feathers. Look at me, look at me. And when you see the women that go, show me what you got, show me what you're working with, it's no different than the frog that ribbits the loudest, or the bird that chirps the loudest.
So what do you call a man that's just been providing, that doesn't ask for nothing? What do you call the guys like me who we don't ask for anything?
Oh, but you do.
How?
You may not ask it with your words, but your expectation is there. So when you say, I need that woman that loves me, I need that woman that has my back, so I don't have to say, hey, is that bacon and eggs there? Hey,
Okay,
are those
mental,
clothes in the drawer?
Not cash wise. Okay.
So when we talk about compatibility, right, one of the things that I love to say, an acronym that I use is rises, that some relationships rise, some fall. You want one that rises. Rises stands for the different types of intimacy that make us compatible.
I like her.
Yeah, I think she's gotten better at this point, though. I like the part where she says that most relationships survive and some didn't. But to me, the only way that relationships will survive is having a healthy communication. Is do coupley things together. Sex, going out to eat, going to casinos, like go somewhere that makes you happy as a couple do things together and have a healthy communication, especially if you have kids. You want to make sure that they see their two parents love each other and them at the same time. You don't want to see, well, you don't want your kids to see their two parents crashing out with each other and going at one another, for all the wrong reasons, and to see their parents get divorced and the kids somehow blame themselves for how all of this situation turned out. That's not the way life's supposed to work. That's not the way life's supposed to be.
A couple. I obviously do not agree with the reliance on this ancestral trauma
Yeah,
in order to
I get it.
understand some of these different things that are happening today. Can certain things be playing in a factor? I mean, someone's always going to argue it, but at what point do you snap the chalk and instead of focusing on the trauma, you solution for it? But the problem is that solution forces accountability, and accountability will make you lose subscribers. It'll make you lose influence. It'll make you lose money. It's a lot easier
and confidence
to
as well.
Trauma to a community and continuously hone in on it. Organizations get built, new communities get built and funded on the back of believing that you are much lower than what you actually are. That's why I try to lead so often through my talking points through a perspective of power, because no result that I've gotten in my life has been reliant on, oh, woe is me. It's always been reliant on beating the next person, achieving what people thought I could never achieve before. So this concept of trauma, it goes beyond relationships and can go as far into joy or happiness within one's life. I appreciated this conversation right here, but guys, drop me a line.
The MTR once again for this good video, and honestly, that conversation went from good to bad, and just spamming the word trauma to the point where I almost shut this video off completely. But hopefully she called on to some good points, but there are also some bad points about what she made. The first point that I agree with her was about the frogs when it comes to, ratchet ass who rip it, who can twerk, and who can do whatever the loudest, like how your typical black women are. And like I said, other black women in different countries, I mean, I agree with them though, you know what I'm saying? Some of them don't really need to know how much money they make, even though they still care about the money, but deep down, they still care about the man that they're with. Unlike women here, everything is all about, money, paying the bills, and supporting the bad habits, and the lack of accountability on both ends. It really goes to show you that if you're not willing to take any accountability of how you live your life, then you're not ready to just pretty much be in a committed relationship if you're with a good person. Like I said, not all black women are terrible. There are some beautiful, gorgeous, and great black women in America that are twice as awesome, twice as fun, and twice as amazing. You just need to pick the right ones and not the ones from the streets. So yeah, link to the original video will be down below, and I'm holla at y'all.